In fact, let's introduce Mayuresh Joshi. He is our first guest on the show. Mayuresh, good morning and happy Friday to you.
Morning, sir. Be happy Friday and hope it stays this way for the next week and the next few weeks to come.
No, absolutely. We can do with some good news. This market has had a very turbulent patch. But Mayuresh, what have you made of the week? And this huge hope rally that finally we're past the worst that we saw on Wednesday. But these are still, geopolitical sides which are at loggerheads, where egos run high. Sometimes rationality runs very, very low. So what do you think? I mean, from a market standpoint, are we indeed past the worst?
So morning, Surabhi, again. I think to a large extent, I think the situation, as you rightly pointed out, is still transitory and very, very fluid. Having said that, I think if some resolution comes through over the next couple of weeks, I think the markets will take it with both hands. Obviously, I think there are going to be supply chain challenges with the kind of infrastructure damage that has probably happened to a lot of energy assets in the Middle East. Supplies are going to take some time to restore to normalcy. And therefore, I think from a Q1 perspective in particular, there will be some hiccups as far as supply chain, input cost, some element of demand dynamics getting disrupted in numbers that get played out. But if in the next couple of weeks, in the next 2 to 4 weeks, there is an absolute resolution will take place, I think the markets will start looking beyond Q1 and start discounting that.
क्या आपको मालूम है कि आपके stock setups का success?
Markets will still like to find out sectors where there is more domestic stability and where there is expectation of earnings being far more reasonable compared to the rest of the pack. So I think pharma, to a certain extent, the entire power value chain, certain BFSI stocks, specifically in the PSU universe, which have given very good Q4 updates, and some domestic infra and manufacturing companies, which are completely domestic focused, I think might remain in focus. The one aspect in terms of once we get absolute clarity is that the markets will move significantly higher and everything will move. But after that, I think it will all come back to earnings and which sectors might outperform. So I think for the next 2 quarters, these sectors might outperform. After Q1, as more definitive reasoning starts coming through, I think new sectors like consumption and consumption discretionary might start making a very strong comeback.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I take your point that once we're past geopolitics, it boils down to really earnings and what companies are able to deliver. So let's talk about that, Mayuresh, starting with TCS. What did you think of it? I'll just quickly run our viewers through some of the basic numbers. I mean, and they were pretty much along expected lines. There are no shockers there whatsoever. So the constant currency, or the dollar revenue growth in the fourth quarter is 1.5%. But yes, in terms of, getting a headline, in constant currency terms, this is the first time ever, I think, in history that TCS has not grown on a full year basis. And that talks about the kind of challenging environment that we're in, the AI disruption that is sweeping through. Anyway, coming back to Q4, so dollar revenue is up about 1.3, 1.4%, which was more or less along expected lines. The EBIT margin is at 25.3% versus 25.2%. So, I mean, not much of an increase, but like I said, at least not much of a decline. The deal wins are very strong for the company in the fourth quarter as well. $12 billion of deal wins. So that's saying something about constant and continuous client engagement. And the AI revenue pie is gradually increasing. It's $2.3 billion at the end of Q4. And now the AI revenue constitutes 7.5% of TCS's total revenue. So those are some of the key points. Mayuresh, what did you think of the performance and where does it leave us after 15-20% decline on the stock from the peak?
No, so steady state numbers, as you pointed out. I think looking at the positives in the numbers, Surabhi, I think constant currency growth at 1.2% quarter on quarter, third quarter in a row. So that's a positive in terms of revenue accretion that is probably expected to take place. When you're probably talking about the margins, I think on expected lines, though I think the street believed that it would be better because of the currency depreciation, which obviously abetted the kind of margin expansion that took place. I think the biggest takeaway was kind of deal wins that they've won. $12 billion in Q4, the entire FY26 at close to $40 billion. So I think that's significant. The AI pie is going up on an annualized basis at 7.5% as we speak. Attrition is coming down. In fact, the workforce is getting added to a certain extent. And therefore, I think no negative surprises as far as TCS is concerned. And therefore, I think it should exhibit a positive move, taking the IT sector along with it. How the others now perform, specifically Infosys among the large cap names at HCL Tech, and a few of the mid cap companies, Coforge, Persistent, Emphasis, will lay base in terms of how the markets probably perceive the next financial year to be. But it should be relatively better compared to what FY26 was. A large part of the price damage, in my opinion, for the sector is largely done with. It's going to be more stock specific. I think mid caps might do a tad bit better, so to be compared to large caps, in my opinion. So I think we'll watch out for stocks like a Persistent, Coforge, or an Emphasis within the mid cap band.
And Mayuresh, what about the buybacks? Now that the buyback rules are being tweaked, I think some of the IT companies are off the block already. Wipro has announced one. We don't know the details. I mean, the board will consider it, I think, 13th or 14th of April. They're going to be discussing this buyback. But so within the larger set of 4 companies, would you buy anything at all? Mid cap, you've laid out your preference. Would you stay away from large cap till you have more clarity, or will the buybacks be a sweetener enough to kind of consider them right now?
So to a certain extent, buybacks will act as an enabler in terms of investor sentiments towards these stocks. But I think it's always been a policy for IT companies to reward their shareholders either through dividends and buybacks. And buybacks become some more lucrative option as we speak in this macro and micro environment and the regulatory environment as well. Having said that, I think within the large caps, so the HCL Tech has given a relatively better performance, even in a tough macro environment and a challenging IT environment as far as AI is concerned. And therefore, out of the large cap names, I think HCL Tech is something that we watch out.
Okay. All right. Mayuresh, I just want to talk about financials as well. Yeah. Now, you said that obviously it's going to be more about, specific earnings from here on. And at least in Q4, most of those updates have looked very, very robust. Most of the companies, banks and non-banks, have managed to show decent growth. Now, the question is what happens here on margins, etc. What would your top picks be in banks and NBFCs, even non-lenders for that matter? Stocks like, capital market stocks or insurance stocks. It's a large universe.
Oh, absolutely, Sylvie. So I think the bias probably stays a tad bit with the PSU banks as we speak.
You know what's getting people hired in 2026?
But the thesis that we are laying out is that because of the stickiness in terms of deposit accretion that PSU generally have, I think PSU banks might be a tad bit better off when it comes to deposit accretion over the next few months and quarters. And therefore, I think on the key parameters, specifically in terms of the advanced deposit growth, in terms of their risk management practices, specifically in terms of how they're probably underwriting their risk assets to a large extent. I think that has improved significantly over the last few quarters. And valuations probably still remain from a risk-reward perspective in favor of PSU banks. So I think SBI, as I said, is something that we're keeping on our watch list with the large cap names. Within mid caps, Bank of Baroda, Indian Bank, Bank of Maharashtra probably can have a better show. In the private space, our own sense is that Axis Bank is something that we watch out for, but a mid-cap bank, mid-cap private bank, specifically banks like a Karur Vysya Bank as an example, have had a decent showing so far. And our belief is it might continue doing so. In the broader universe, our own sense is that capital markets as a theme might continue doing well and will continue doing well over the next few quarters structurally. And therefore, asset management companies, as our belief has been, remain a core focal area. Expectations is that a large part of the wealthy households are expected to actually double over the next few years. And therefore, I think wealth managers, in our opinion, within the capital market space can actually continue doing well as we speak. And are actionable probably in market conditions.
Okay, all right. So wealth manager companies or asset manager companies, which one you want to pick the mutual fund stock that you like?
So I think HDFC AMC is something that we continue preferring. And within the asset managers, our own sense is that Nippon Wealth can actually do.
Okay. All right, Mayuresh, just stay on. I'll quickly run through the stocks and news, and I have one or two just additional questions for you. We do have some interesting stocks and news, stocks that you should keep on your radar beyond, obviously, like the TCS and earnings. So let's quickly get to that list now. Okay, so a lot of large cap names actually on the news radar today. HDFC Life, the board is going to be considering fundraising. There will be on the 16th of April. So need to watch for this next week. Wipro, like we just discussed, is considering a share buyback, something that's typically liked by the market. They will be discussing the details of this buyback on the 16th of April as well. 16th is an important day, both HDFC Life and Wipro. Eicher Motors has unveiled its first ever EV. It's an EV motorcycle from the house of Royal Enfield. It's called the Flying Flea C6, and the price tag, hold your breath, it's a hefty one, 2.79 lakh rupees, so 2,79,000 rupees. Let's move on. IRB Infra is another stock that's worth keeping on the radar today. They came out with their toll collections data. So March toll revenue is up 21%. Seems to be a good month for IRB Infra. And there is Poonawalla FinCorp. The company is looking at doing a QIP. It's raising capital. They're doing a QIP. The floor price has been set at 390 rupees per share. So raising equity capital via a qualified institutional placement. So these are some of the names on the radar. Mayuresh, you did say that obviously discretionary consumption and discretionary stocks will probably pick up a little later once the dust settles on this war. I thought Eicher was very interesting. Now, I don't know if that fits the scheme of things for you, auto, in that discretionary consumption basket. But tell us what you thought of this move from Eicher. Will it move the needle? This EV motorcycle? I don't know if you're a biking enthusiast, but yeah, as a market watcher, how would you look at it?
Not a biking enthusiast, but yes, as a market watcher, I think let's see how the market accepts this, because I think acceptance is a key factor for anything related to the EV portfolio as we speak. Now, the traditional Eicher models in terms of how the engine purrs, I think is something which is very, very important for enthusiastic bikers, and specifically bikers who ride Eicher bikes. And therefore, I think our own sense is that if this is accepted well, I think the kind of portfolio that Eicher probably is running as we speak at this juncture, it might continue doing well. Within the broader discretionary basket, two-wheelers within the consumer discretionary basket is something that we are looking out for, Surabhi. So Eicher, Hero probably remain top of our watch list, and we are obviously monitoring the key developments out.
Okay, got that. So Mayuresh, finally, I'm just looking at the weekly tally. It's been a good week for the market, right? 4.5% up on the Nifty. Let's hope today adds to that tally. Leave us with the compounding idea. Any one stock for medium to long-term investors. What would you give us today, this Friday morning?
So, Surabhi, I think our own sense is that mining stocks might continue doing well. I think the thesis remains very simple. Government capex, private capex coming back might mean the kind of industrial activity that is expected to happen in Bharat is expected to be significantly better over the next few years. And therefore, mining stocks, which become a backbone in terms of integration, whether it's steel or iron or power, remain in focus. With that in perspective, Godavari Power is something that we probably liking at MarketSmith India. They're expanding their mining operations from 3.05 MMTPA to almost 6 MMTPA. The approvals are in place and the evacuation will begin, which means there will be better volume growth of sponge and volumes as well. That is also expected to show a significant uptick over the next few quarters. And as activity picks up and global activity probably becomes far more sanguine, the expectation in terms of pellet prices, sponge iron prices, which have shown decline 9 months FY26 over 9 months FY25, should show signs of recovery. And as that happens, I think with better volumes expected to come through and better realizations of what we've seen over the last 4 to 6 quarters, I think the kind of numbers that can come through both in terms of margins, which stay at 22%, and bottom line growth, it can be a steady earnings growth that one really expects. Again, from a balance sheet perspective, they're having more than 800 crores of cash, even with the kind of capex that they're probably doing. And with complete integrated operations, our own sense is that it probably becomes a fair play in terms of the India growth story, the India capex story as well. And therefore, mining stocks probably remain in focus. Godavari Power is something in terms of our ratings and rankings that remains top of the rank.
Okay. All right, Mayuresh, thank you so much for all the advice today and for that compounding idea as well. You have a happy Friday, have a good trading session, and we look forward to connecting again. And have a good weekend as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Surabhi. Have a good weekend too. Thank you so much.